Welcome to Chillin' with Ice with me, Lori Fetrick, or most of you know me as Ice from the American Gladiators. Thank you for joining me on this podcast where we're going to dive in and go behind the scenes on the #1 hit iconic show of the 90s. It's time to get up close and personal on what drove us to be gladiators, what challenges we faced, and how we overcame to reach all of our goals. I know in this first season, inquiring minds want to know, was there drama, fights, hookups? Are we all still friends? What did we do in our personal lives, and how are we staying in such good shape years later? Well, stay right here and let's get into Chillin' with Ice. Before we dive into our incredible episode today, I want to let you know that this is a self-funded podcast and I would love your support. For the cost of a cup of coffee a month, you can donate to my Patreon page, and that would make all the difference in the world. For the small donation, you will get back so much in rewards. Like you can watch all of my podcasts on video. I will have exclusive content like behind the scenes footage, a private Facebook group where you can interact with me directly and other VIP fans, a monthly Q&A, direct shout outs and follows from me to you on your social media, and so much more. Find me on Patreon at Chillin' with Ice or click the link in the show notes now. Okay, let's dive in.
We are chillin' with Ice.
Dude, I love my intro now. Can you just do this like all the time for me?
I've been doing it for the last like 3 episodes.
So
you're welcome. I can do some ADRs so your editor can lay it in for all the other episodes that don't have it. So
I like the radio voice. Do it one more time for me.
We are chillin' with Ice.
You say it way better than I do.
why don't you try it?
We are chillin' with Ice.
You got to do a little bit of a
I know, it kind of sounds more sexual the way I say it.
Yeah.
You've got the late night radio voice. He's got some.
Yeah, you've got the grit.
You want me to do it in Spanish?
Can you?
No.
What? That was it? Is that it? I mean, come on. I love a Spanish type of, now you're Googling it. He's Googling how to say it in Spanish.
Yeah. Because I can speak Spanish.
You know, it's very exciting to me when I hear, other languages. Something about that is, it's kind of
I don't know how to say this.
See, Jeff, you can't even say it.
Relajandos con helio.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll have to call my mom to ask.
Can you say it a little bit more, like kind of like
in the more sexy kind of way?
Yeah, like if you were whispering in a girl's ear.
Relajandos con helio.
That just sounds creepy.
That actually does.
Didn't we go over this whenever I was on your pod with Jai a few times?
We did. I think we did.
Yeah. It's okay.
Thanks for coming in, Jeff.
No problem. It's good to see you.
I really enjoy doing my podcast with you.
Yeah, of course. Who do we have today?
Well, we have a very special guest today.
Aww.
They're always special.
Yes,
Everyone is special.
Very special.
Yeah.
We have a Dr. Satyavani.
A doctor?
Hold on. Gayatri.
Oh, you got it.
Oh, I got it. Dr.
Nice.
Satyavani Gayatri.
Yep.
She is an author. She wrote a book, and it's called Pain to Power.
Cool.
And I think we have it here today, as a matter of fact, and we will talk about it. Very excited to interview this woman. She's a very powerful woman. And she's went through a lot of different struggles, and she's come out the other side, and now she's here to tell us about it today.
Amazing.
And so I'm very excited. So without further ado,
Oh, my goodness.
let's bring her in and have a wonderful podcast today. Dr. Satyavani Gayatri. How are you?
Oh, my God. So good.
Thanks for showing up.
Thank you for having me. And for the record, you don't have to go through the whole name. You can just call me Sat.
Sat. I like Satyavani.
Okay,
though.
if you want to call me Satyavani,
it actually
it's fine.
sounds like it's a very cool name to sound. It's like, it's it's a fun name to say. Satyavani.
Thank you.
It's like, remember that movie? What movie was it? Oh, Elf. One of my favorite movies. Love Elf. To where he goes, Francisco, and he goes, ooh, that's a fun name to say, Francisco. And he kept saying it. See, that's what I'm talking. Satyavani. It's a very cool name.
Thank you. It means the speaker of truth.
The speaker of truth.
Yes.
So I'm just going to dive right in here for a second.
Go for it.
You mentioned that you actually changed your name.
I did.
Can I ask why?
So my birth name, and this is really actually an interesting story, and I actually talk about this in my book. that my birth name is Kelly.
Kelly?
Yeah, like Kelly Harrington. Like
You
how?
look like a Kelly.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say. But it's Kelly with an I.
Okay.
And the origin is Gaelic.
Okay.
I couldn't be any more Irish Catholic.
Right.
And Polish Catholic. My mom is Polish. My father's Irish. And Kelly actually translates to mean warrior.
Okay.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Many moons later, my name changed to Satyavani when I was initiated into my yoga lineage.
Got it.
So when you decide to become what is known as an acharya, which is a spiritual teacher, and my guru, my teacher, as well as my other teachers, they know you over a series of years, and so they understand your personality, what it is that you're going to put into the world, et cetera. And so they choose a Sanskrit name. And so when you get initiated into your lineage, you're given a new name because it is the significance around it is that you're leaving your old life and you're stepping into your new life. And you see this a lot in a lot of, spiritual traditions, people that go into the monastery or the convent or, whatever, the Pope takes on a new name, et cetera.
So when you leave is it like leaving your old name, leaving your type of your old life? Is it being disattached to your name per se and going into, is that kind of why?
Yeah.
But aren't you just attaching to a new name? In a new realm?
I like that. Yeah. So it's moving from one life into a new life that has a different, what we call in my world, dharma.
Got it.
A different purpose. So dharma is your purpose in life. What is it that you're meant here to do? Which is beyond, you have a purpose, Jeff has a purpose, everybody.
Jeff, what is your purpose?
Yeah, Jeff, what is your purpose?
Podcasting.
There you go.
There we go. Okay.
He's
So
a
Jeff is a
podcast
podcasting.
He's a podcast guru. So,
right.
And so your life purpose is something that is, way beyond your job.
Okay.
It is, what am I really here on this planet to do? And that becomes very crystal clear. Like for me, it is my job in this world is to empower women. Like I know that. And
Is it just women?
Yep. Well, that's my focus.
Okay.
That's my focus. I've had many male clients and interact with men all the time.
Right.
But my focus is women for sure.
Okay. So before I kind of dive down into
Down the rabbit hole?
That rabbit hole. I'm glad you have a sense of humor about that one.
There is nothing that you could say, Ice, that would surprise me.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, I'm very much roll with it.
I do kind of want to get back into your backstory just a tad.
Sure.
Okay, and that is, I brought my little notebook here today and usually I don't but yet you had a lot going on. So, you were a swimmer, you were a triathlete, you were on your way to going pro. How old were you at that time? Like 19-ish?
Yes.
Okay.
When that changed.
Okay.
Yes.
So going in that direction, and then unfortunately, God, terrible event, you got hit by a car and then you had to have 18 to 20 surgeries. Is that correct?
I had surgery for 18 months.
Sorry.
18 months,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So I had multiple surgeries, and the surgeries and the occupational therapy were about 18 months.
What was the main
Shoulders.
thing?
See, you
Shoulders.
can see them. You can
Gotcha.
see.
Okay.
I got scars on both shoulders. I dislocated both of my shoulders because when I got hit by the car, I was thrown about 20 feet.
Okay.
And so, your instinct is to break your fall. But
Of course,
your arms
yeah.
out. Well, that didn't turn out too well.
Right.
So it was arms down, shoulders out. That's
it.
really what happened. And then I dislocated my right hip. I broke my left femur. I had a concussion.
Wow.
Yeah.
How fast was that car going?
That
roughly?
the car ran a stop sign. So I grew up in New York. And so I was in New York City riding my bike, which a lot of people say is a death sentence, which for the most part is true. But gentleman ran a stop sign and probably was going 25, 30 miles an hour.
Okay.
And so, 25 to 30 miles an hour,
Is a good speed.
is a pretty big clip
it is.
when you're on a bicycle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he just nailed you.
Just nailed me right from the side.
Wow.
Yeah. And just projected me about, 15 to 20 feet. And actually there was a gentleman who was running the a bodega across the street that saw the whole thing happen and called the ambulance and everything. So like from the moment of impact to the time that I woke up in the hospital, I had no idea what happened.
Okay, so it just boom, that fast.
Instantaneous. And I mean, and there's kind of a mystical story that goes along with it
Right.
that I won't bore you with. But it was, definitely.
Did you see the white light? This episode's actually sponsored by icet-shirts.com, and you can get your OG Gladiator hat. You can get your OG t-shirt. You can get Chillin' with Ice hats, Chillin' with Ice t-shirts. I have all kinds of fun stuff on it. So go to icet-shirts.com today.
I actually saw my grandmother.
Okay.
So I have this connection with my grandmother on my father's side. And she came and visited me and she says, "You're going to survive this." But
So all that's real that people talk about, that
it's
actually
very real.
really happened.
oh, it's very real. Wow. It's very real. Like,
Our minds are so absolutely unbelievably powerful, and just the whole, it's
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was pretty incredible. And so I didn't see white light, which meant that I wasn't
You
going.
weren't there yet.
I wasn't going.
Yeah,
I still had
okay.
some time left.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that was a good thing.
Exactly.
But she directed me and she said, this is going to be a life-changing event for you. And it was. And it was. Everything from that moment changed. And my whole life trajectory changed as a result.
So how old were you actually when you started your athletic journey?
I will say, I'm going to say 8.
Okay, so you're 8 years old.
Yep.
When did you decide you wanted to be a triathlete? At what age?
I decided I wanted to be a triathlete at about 17.
Okay.
17, yeah.
What were you doing between 8 and 17? What sports?
Swimming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was a competitive swimmer.
What style? What were you doing?
I was a freestyle sprinter.
Okay,
So
fun.
1500 freestyle, and that was definitely my jam.
See, I sink.
I don't believe that.
I do. I'm not. I mean, I have had so many people go, "We need to teach you to swim." I mean, I know how to swim. I just can't, like,
I can teach you how to swim.
I can't.
If someday you'd
swim,
like me to.
I mean, the minute that I pull this arm up, when you do the head turn,
Yeah.
I get a mouthful of water.
Okay.
And it's just like that. And it's funny because, I won't. I'm going to go off on a small little tangent here. But when I was training and I was in Gladiators, and that was one of the things. It was like, I'm going to change my body just a tad, and everybody's like, start swimming.
Yeah.
Because it changes your body.
It really does. And it's excellent, not only for training, but also for recovery.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Swimming is amazing.
It's an amazing sport.
So went up to LA Fitness.
Okay.
And that's over here in Hollywood off of Santa Monica Boulevard. And at the top of the LA Fitness, I think it was LA Fitness, was their swimming pool.
Nice.
And so my friend and I, Joey, used to go up there, and Joey was a big swimmer, and she used to try to teach me. And interesting enough, at that point in time, that's when Julian Michaels was not Julian Michaels. Julian Michaels was just a normal, chick hanging out, watching everybody else train and everything. She used to be up there all the time, and she used to be up there swimming. And her and Joey were friends, a little bit. And it was one of those times where I tried it over and over and over for 2 months, and I just couldn't get the hang of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very difficult sport for me.
Do you know how to dance?
I'm a very good dancer when I want to be.
Okay. When you want to be. Okay.
Few drinks and I can move.
I wouldn't recommend drinks before swimming.
That's true.
That's
true.
But what was interesting is that prior to going into sports and becoming a swimmer, I was a dancer.
Oh, okay.
And so there is a rhythm.
Yes.
Just like anything.
There's a rhythm to anything.
Exactly. So with swimming, there is a rhythm to it, et cetera. And it's really just a matter of getting that rhythm and that momentum for you.
Yeah, and that's just, I just have to probably try it over and over and, know. But it always looked like a lot of fun. As far as that's concerned. So you were a swimmer, and then around 17, you decided you wanted to go into
racing triathlons.
Doing triathlons. Okay, first of all, I hate running. So,
so
kudos to you.
No. I hate it.
Hate it?
Hate it. Everybody, hate it. Okay? Hate running.
Yeah.
And I do it because I hate it.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because it's all mental toughness for me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you hate this. It's so easy to do the things you love. And so I'm like, okay, I have to do something it is that I hate. And out of the 3 sports within a triathlon, for me, it was progressively worse. Like swimming out of the gate, because actually most triathletes are not very good swimmers.
Interesting.
Most of them come into racing triathlons either as cyclists or runners.
Okay.
So it was like out of the gate, I had the advantage. And then like I could maintain on a bike.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as we hit the run, it was like, oh, this is terrible.
Biking for me, I think I would enjoy that. Yeah. I mean, I really would. That would be fine.
It is.
But the running part, I'd just be like,
terrible.
I'm out.
Right. And I only did sprint and Olympic distance triathlons. Anything. I mean, I'm actually training right now with a friend to run a 10K. And next year I'm going to try a half marathon. And then the year after that, I'm going to try a full marathon.
Okay.
So I just, set these little goals. But when I was racing triathlons, I never ran over a 10K.
So your shoulders got messed up so bad that was the swimming part.
Yes.
So why not go into something other than the triathlon then?
Well, I was...
I know your hips and everything else. But was there, at that point in time, being an athlete, it's like I'm wondering if you thought about going into something else to compete.
Well, what actually happened as a result afterwards was that I wound up going into yoga.
Okay.
And yoga's not, it's not a although,
yoga's hard.
It's really hard.
I've tried yoga. I've tried yoga like every once in a while throughout my life, at least once a year. And every
once a year.
I'm not even joking. And once a year I'm in there, and every time I'm in that class, I do this. What the hell am I here for?
Right.
I can't stand this. Right. It's boring. I'm not sweating. And then I go like this. Holy shit, this stretch is hard.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is hard to breathe through. Yeah. And then I start doing that process.
Well, if you do hot yoga, you will be sweating. So I got into, after my accident, my occupational therapist actually said, and this was in the 90s. So like yoga became a huge thing in the early 2000s.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
But in the 90s, it was still this like weirdo hippie thing that people like, oh, is it stretching? Like,
what is it?
Are you looking for enlightenment? It was, and there's a whole history around that.
And then the whole spirituality thing.
Absolutely.
And that's what I guess I didn't understand because I was like, I'm not enjoying the actual practice of yoga, physical. More or less even let my mind go into a meditation spiritual thing because my body's going, oh my God, this hurts. What am I doing this
And that's the point. And that's the point.
Is that the point?
Oh, absolutely. So in the West, and specifically in the States, there is an emphasis on the body. And so yoga became popular as a physical practice. And in Sanskrit, the word is known as asana, which means seat. It means posture. And so that's how it became very popularized because, everybody was all about, oh, this is the next, quote, fitness craze. That was never the intention. The intention actually of yoga is to calm the mind so that you can open your heart to things like care, compassion, and love. But you have to go through the struggle of the body because the body
How long does that take, though?
30 years. That's how long it's been going on for me. So 30 years of...
That's a long time to get into that. I don't think I have that patience.
It's a commitment, but it will.
It's a lifestyle.
It is. It's a lifestyle, and it'll change your life. It really will. And it changed my life. At the time in which my swimming and triathlon career were over, it was exactly what needed to happen. And so my OT was like, hey, look, I've done everything it is that I can do for you. You should try this thing called yoga. Because I was actually told that I was never going to have full range of motion with my arms and legs ever again. And at the time, after the surgery and occupational therapy, I could only lift my arm about this high. And so then after yoga, it was like, full range of motion happened. So,
I know it's great for your body.
Oh, it's.
I'm not even.
There's no comparison.
Questioning that.
Yeah, there's no comparison. And you have to couple it with other things, et cetera. But and so that was a gateway for me because what I really loved about it was, and I started out actually with a hot yoga practice. So you're in a room heated to 105 degrees, doing these postures. And so it combined for me my love of sport and like competition and athleticism with the beauty of dance.
Were you competing with yourself? Meaning like the competition was, okay, I need to stay in this room that's 105 degrees while I'm doing this yoga practice with my body.
Yep.
And it's the, oh my God, I got to stay here kind of thing.
Yeah, it's mental toughness.
Yeah, because I'd want to get up and leave.
Most people do.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things that it was, okay, if I can get through this, it's a metaphor for life. It really is a metaphor for life because, I mean, the reality is that life is hard. Okay, so
you go through struggles.
You go through all sorts of struggles, but if I can get through this next 60, 75, or 90 minutes in this room at 106 degrees and enjoy it, afterwards.
Do you really enjoy it?
Oh, yeah, now, yeah. In the beginning, it was like, what the?
Exactly.
But then, and I don't know if cursing is allowed on the show. So
you can say fuck all day long.
Okay, great, because I'm an F-bomb girl.
I know, and that's why when we talked on the phone, I was like, all right, we clicked. This is awesome.
But like the first time I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. I'm suffocating to death.
Yeah.
And then you get out of the class and you take a shower. And there is nothing better than it. I was actually at a class with my brother last night, and he hates it, but he does it because he's like, I got to keep toned. I don't want to get stiff, because as we get older, we get stiff and the whole thing. And so we went to a class together, and I was like, it's horribly amazing, isn't it? And he's like, that's perfect. And that's what it is.
Okay, it's kind of like, what's happening right now with all the ice baths.
Cold plunges are horribly amazing.
There you go. It's like, isn't that fascinating to where it's like the things that are the most uncomfortable for you are usually horribly amazing for you.
1,000%.
Even the foods that we eat.
1,000%.
The foods that are bland, that are boring, that it just like it's just not palatable at all. And those are the foods that are probably the best for you. The best tasting foods are the worst for you.
Horrible.
Horrible.
And they're usually brown, yellow, and red in color. The
and
horrible
white.
ones, right?
And white, yeah.
Exactly.
The sugar.
Exactly.
And so hot yoga is, anything that we do for our bodies. So you went down this path, you went into yoga, and then basically after that, you also found something else. Now you said, I remember something about you saying there's got to be more, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah, there has to be a better way.
And what were you referring to at that point? There's got to be a better way. A better way of what?
So my journey was very much a journey of, and I think a lot of people in general, and a lot of women specifically can relate to this, a very type A, go, 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 achievement means success in the world. And if you're not achieving, then you're not somebody, you become irrelevant, et cetera, et cetera. And literally, by the time I was like 20, I was already burnt out.
20.
Yeah.
20 is when we just start.
Right. Like you're just getting ready to crank at that age. And I was already fried. Like I had one of 2 master's degrees under my belt at that point in time. And I'm like, I grew up on the East Coast in New York City where it's go, 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 go. Like, I mean, the whole thing. It's no different here than LA. It's the same jam, just different.
Yeah.
And
we have more trees.
It depends. Upstate New York has a lot of nature.
But upstate New York is beautiful.
Yeah, but New York City.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Okay.
And it was just, I was fried, and it was like, there's got to be something better than this.
Yeah.
Not easier.
Yeah.
But better. I have no problem with hard. You don't have problems with hard.
No, I have no problem with work.
Right. Like, I love to work, especially if I'm working in my purpose.
But you were mentally fried.
Done. Just done. And
it mentally, 20 years old mentally. It's almost like you're not even completely developed yet.
Not even close.
Yeah.
And I was depressed and anxious and, had just everything it was that I was starting to form as my quote identity, which I now, at 49 years old, I know differently. But what I was forming as my identity at that time was gone, like in an instant. One car accident, boom, done, finished. And so it was like, okay, well, what the fuck do I do now?
Right.
Who am I? And so yoga took me on the
But you
journey
had
of
two
who am I.
master's degree underneath you.
I did.
Where were you going with that?
Education. So I was teaching high school social studies. And then I eventually moved into academia and taught at the university level, and then became a university administrator. I mean, I was on this like
Wow.
trajectory,
Yeah.
you know, that like I, you know, became one of the deans at San Francisco State University and like, you know, like lived the life. And
Dude,
yeah,
that's, yeah.
it was
okay.
cool. It was cool. You know, I did a doctorate.
But your
you know.
identity was still wrapped up in being an athlete.
Yeah, it was that, but also like the idea of what is the meaning behind all of this? Like, what am I doing? What am I actually doing? And all of those things are great. It's like, you know, here's the resume. Great. You know, that and $1.50 will get me on the bus. But what am I doing as far as like purpose is concerned? And am I really happy? And I wasn't. And I was not happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so yoga took me on the journey of figuring out like, who the hell am I?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, what is really joy? And how can I have joy and meaning and purpose in my life?
And in your 20s, starting at 20, that's when that, to be honest with you, that's when that journey really starts.
It does. It does. It really does.
I mean, I remember being in my 20s and, you know, I was journaling and I was, you know,
You're figuring out who you
listening to
are.
sad, sappy songs.
Totally.
And yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Am I gay? Am I not gay? Do I like men? Do I like women? What's happening in my life right now?
Absolutely.
Where am I going? I didn't personally have a degree. I didn't go to college. And so I was just, you know,
Lucky you.
what doors? Well, no, I don't know if that's lucky me or not.
Okay, well,
I don't know if I missed out.
Yeah, you know what? I completely appreciate
You know
that.
what I'm saying?
I totally
don't
know what you
know.
mean. Yeah,
I
being
mean-
on the other side of that, I'm kind of like, yeah, college was kind of a scam. Yeah.
Well, and you know, I mean, nowadays, you know, you talk
I don't
about
regret
it.
it.
It's like an indoctrination type of program type of this
Totally.
is we're going to mold you and this is what you're going to believe and this is what you're going to do.
And this is how you're going to think.
Yeah, and this is exactly how you're going to think, and you're going to be in debt the rest of your life, especially if you go for 2 masters
And a doctorate.
and a doctorate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've learned that throughout my life, but at the same time, it's like I think that, you know, and my friends know this, and I think when I was around 30, if I would have went, my path would have been going into chiropractic college.
Nice.
I wanted to become a chiropractor really bad.
You can still do that.
Dude, I'm 60.
So?
Oh, shit. Did I just say that? I'm like, can we edit
did.
that? I'm not 60.
Girl, you look fabulous.
Thank you.
You're 29.
I'm 29.
29.
You know what, Jeff? I'll hold at 40. I'm good at 40.
40 is great.
40 is a great number.
10
But
years
anyway,
Every
younger than
number
me.
is great.
but no, for me, it's too late to go back to college.
Is
And
it?
It's okay. It's okay. I've already come to grips with that.
Okay.
Totally come to grips
Because
with that.
the reality is that like you can do anything it is that you want at any stage in the game.
And that's why I'm podcasting.
Which is wonderful. Which is great.
Yeah, my path, my journey is a little different. But yes, I completely understand that. And I do. I wonder some days, God, did I miss the boat on that? And
Sure.
what would I have done differently in my life?
I totally understand that.
You know, if I had that crystal ball or that genie that, you know, what do you want to do? You know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, your journey, it's like, it's crazy. And you're right. When you're in your 20s, you're just like on that path of, who am I? What am I doing? So now I know that what was it that you actually, at first when you said there's got to be a better way, I thought, oh, did she create her own?
Right.
You know, did she create her own yogi and her whole program?
I did.
You did.
For the most part.
But in the very beginning, where did you go? What did you find?
Well, in the very beginning, I was continuing, I was basically running 2 lives at the same time.
Okay.
Okay. So I had all of the energy that I had in my athletic career, I then put into academics.
Okay.
Went into academics and then was making academics my career. I started out as a high school social studies teacher, like I mentioned, and then moved all the way through academia. And like I was on a trajectory to become a university president. Wow. And I mean, I was the dean of a college at the age of 25, you know, which was somewhat unheard of.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm putting all my energy into this. And there was just still something that was just like,
Missing.
something just wasn't fitting. So simultaneous to that, I'm running this yoga life.
Okay.
That I'm practicing yoga, I'm studying yoga. And at the time, I was married to my ex-husband. And then we got divorced. And that was a good thing. And when I got divorced before I met my current husband, there was a gap in time where I just really sunk into the study of yoga.
Okay.
And I had several yoga teachers who were instructors of mine who were like, you should really go to yoga teacher training. And I put it off because I was finishing a doctorate and I was like, I got to get this done first. And that was, my quote, day-to-day job.
Mm-hmm.
And then something else happened. So then I'm in my day-to-day job and I had a big transition from one university to another.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got to the second university, I went from San Francisco State University to Chapman University in Orange County. And I was there for a couple of years. And then there was a huge transition then, which had to do with the economics of California. And I was in a specific unit that, for all intents and purposes, didn't have to exist.
Okay.
And so it was like the universe literally was like, okay, we are going to get you fired. And now what?
Yeah. Right.
And, there's some terrifying parts of that because it's like, okay, you go from making a certain salary, living a certain life, et cetera, to all of a sudden I have zero income. And that forced, and my husband and I, we got married prior to that.
Uh-huh.
And then it forced me to move from California back to New York. And that's when my husband and I were like, you know what? We've been practicing yoga for a long time.
So he's into yoga as well?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
And so he went to yoga teacher training. I had started it. He went to yoga teacher training. He came back. I finished. And we actually started our first yoga studio in New York.
Okay.
On our property.
Cool.
It was an old horse stable that we converted to a hot yoga studio.
Love that.
And we literally could maximum fit like 10 people in there.
Okay.
And that's when that whole journey happened. And I was still, I still had a day job, as that was going, et cetera, et cetera. And then at one point in time, it was, we moved from New York to Oregon and opened up our first commercial yoga studio. Because the other one, even though, it was quote commercial, it was on our property.
Right.
And like people would drive up our driveway. And my husband made this little like rock parking lot. And they would park in our driveway and then come to the back of the house to the yoga studio. And we were the only hot yoga studio within like a 5-county radius.
So was there any way to expand it to make it bigger?
We could have,
yeah.
but
Did you like the small intimacy
I
I
absolutely did.
Okay.
I loved the intimacy of it. And then about the third year into it, in the location that we were at, I was like, I can't do another New York winter. I just can't shovel fucking snow again. I fucking can't do it. And my husband was like, yeah, let's go. So we moved to the Pacific Northwest and we moved to Oregon, opened up our first commercial studio in 2009.
Okay.
And things really took off from there.
Okay.
And then the irony is that after that, we then went to do our advanced yoga teacher training at the Kripalu Institute in the Berkshires in Massachusetts. And that's when everything became a game changer.
So on the internet, there's a couple photos of
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we're gonna go there. Sorry, it looks like a fucking cult. Let's be real.
Oh, stop.
It does. You guys are all wearing white. You're all around. Yeah. Tell me that if an outsider just looking in, you're going to have to convince me.
Oh God, everybody says this.
See?
It's so
tell
funny.
tell me why everybody says that.
Okay. Well, because people put labels on things they don't understand.
True. I'll give you that.
Okay. So they put labels on things they don't understand.
Absolutely give you that.
And there's significance around, like example, everybody wearing white. There's significance around that. And what
purity.
That is, it's purity. And it is also like your connection to the divine.
Got it.
However you define that. And that's one of the things that like in all of the work it is that I do, like how you define the divine, or if you don't even believe in the divine, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter. It is your personal connection to whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
however
it is.
God.
Source, nature, God,
universe.
the universe, whatever.
Right.
I believe in all of it because God knows I can use all of it.
Yeah.
to to our, growth and our advantage.
Exactly.
To live a good life. And, so that the significance around that is the purity of stepping into being part of a divine mission, and not in this like cult-like way, like, it's going to be this way.
Well, the only reason I say that is everybody knows this because I talk about it on my podcast a lot, and that is my mom was a very religious woman, and
religion and spirituality are two very different things.
100%.
Okay.
100%. But the church that she was in and still is, to me, we kind of like joke around that it's literally a cult.
Sure.
And a lot of them are.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I think oh God, I shouldn't say that. Never mind. Ooh, I was going to say something that could have got me canceled. No.
Just say it. It's okay.
I like the whole Scientology thing is kind of, it's
a
out
thing.
there.
Yeah.
It's a thing and it's out there,
Yep.
But you're right. A lot of people judge a lot of things that they don't understand and they will call, and I mean, there are certain stigmas that surround certain areas.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like wide open to, believe me, I've been called a cult leader. I've been called, oh my God. Like the work that I do, I live in Boise, Idaho.
Why would they call you a cult leader?
Because where I live in Boise, Idaho, it is the second most populated area of the Mormon church.
Oh, okay.
Outside of Salt Lake City.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I was raised Catholic.
Yeah.
Like I'm a recovering Catholic. And so
I love that.
and so you have a very large Mormon presence, you have a very large fundamentalist Christian presence, and you have a large Catholic presence. And so like for me to be talking about spirituality in its most expansive way and empowering women through them finding their own path is like blasphemy where I live. And so it's like, oh yeah, I mean, I was at a book signing at Barnes & Noble in Boise last weekend.
Okay.
And it was great. And I love all of it. And I had a woman come up to me and she's like, tell me about your book, And so I tell her about it and she's like, is it Christ-centered? And I was like, okay, didn't see that coming. Like that's what happened in my head.
That's kind of like, wow.
Right. I was like, okay, didn't see that coming. And I was like, well, I said, it depends on how you define Christ.
Yeah.
I said, we all have divinity in us, and she was like, or is it more self-empowerment? And I was like, well, it's definitely self-empowerment. She's like, okay, thank you very much. Put the book down and walked away, and that's fine. And like,
wow. Okay. So she didn't even want self-empowerment.
No, not at all. And
which is kind of odd and okay.
Like,
but then again,
maybe not.
But then again, I mean, I was just going to say, and I got to go back to my mom again. And that is, she believes that everything is God will give you, God will grant you. In other words, you don't do self, empowerment. You don't do these things for yourself.
Okay.
It's God will provide.
And right there is the difference between religion and spirituality.
Yes.
So religion is done to you. Spirituality is you do something for yourself. I often say, because I get a lot of women who ask me, like, okay, well, do you believe in religion? I was like, religion of itself is not an issue. What has happened with religion, which makes it different from spirituality, is that it becomes the administration of God.
I think it's a fear base.
It is.
I mean, especially Catholic.
Yeah.
Fear base.
And it's like, you can believe, but this is how you have to believe.
Yeah.
This is how you have to do it. See, spirituality is something you do for yourself.
No doubt. My mom thinks her church is the only church that
my
exists.
church, my God is better than yours.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, great. Great.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're so right.
Yeah, like my God is better than your God.
My church is better than yours, and mine will be saved, and yours won't.
Absolutely.
And, it's just like,
but like,
really?
think about that.
I mean, my mom and I get into this all the time.
Totally.
I challenge her, and
which is great.
Which is great, and it's funny because she doesn't listen to my podcast, so it's okay. I say,
sorry, Mom.
My sister does. So, hey, Cheryl.
Hey, girl.
It's funny because...
What's up, Cheryl?
There we go. Shout out to my sister. But it's like, for the first time, I was at my mother's over the weekend, and she started telling me the same story that she's told me since I was a kid. And I never do this, but it just finally just clicked. And I was like, Mom, do you ever get tired of telling us the same damn story all the time?
Wow.
And she popped off so quickly. She goes, no.
Okay.
And she goes, I'm just hoping that it's going to sink in.
Right.
And I'm like, I think it sunk in when I was probably about 15.
Right. Like, we're done now.
So exactly.
We're done now. It's okay.
And she started laughing. She goes, well, you let me go further than your sister usually does. And I said, because I know it makes you happy.
See, there you go.
You know, I know it makes you happy, and I know that you want to save me.
Absolutely.
You know, so
that's okay.
It's
like,
fine.
Let her try to save
exactly.
you. It's fine.
I mean,
It's
as
fine.
long as I marry a man on my deathbed, according to my mother,
Gotcha.
I'm going to be saved.
Okay.
Other than that,
Right.
it's fine being
Right.
gay throughout my life.
Okay.
It's really interesting.
Okay. Yeah, because gay people don't get saved.
I don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
I just don't get that. Anyway, sorry to go off on that
No,
tangent.
no, it's great.
But yeah, you're right. Spirituality, religion. I mean, it's it is the
It's
two
just
different
it
things.
is a way of the belief, and I don't even want to call it a belief system because I believe everything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. I think the difference is that in the work it is that I do, that I talk about in my book, et cetera, is that whatever it is that you believe doesn't mean shit unless you put action behind it.
Absolutely.
And
That's
so
everything in life.
And so, like, my whole thing is show up, do the work, and lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what is driving that behind you, like in terms of your belief system, because your beliefs and your emotions don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
They have nothing to do with it. It's you got to get up and you got to show up and you got to do the work.
And that's for everything. Every
1,000%.
single thing. It doesn't matter what you are doing in life. So yeah, I don't think I don't know if I would call you a cult leader.
Thank you. I have to be honest, I was actually really proud of myself that I achieved that title.
There you go. Hey, if that's the,
because it was like, if anybody knows me,
yeah.
They're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, oh God, no. No.
I mean,
no.
if you were sitting in a room and constantly recruiting and come over to my side, come over to my side, come over to my side kind of thing, well, then that's a little different.
No.
You know, kind of thing. I've got to ask you what this word means.
Yes.
Jabaguana.
Jai Bhagwan.
Jaibaguan.
Jaibaguan.
I know. I couldn't say it, so
Jai.
I put the guana on the end.
That's okay. Is it like a biguana?
See? Do you know what guana is?
I don't.
Why? Hey, Jeff, did you ever watch
What's up?
Pet Detective?
Ace Ventura?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
What's guana?
Iguana?
Oh my God.
Guana.
An iguana?
Iguana.
An iguana.
Guana.
Guana.
Just guana.
Just guana.
Never mind.
Okay.
All right.
I love that
What does
movie.
it mean?
So Jai Bhagwan is the Sanskrit term. It means may your soul be victorious.
May your soul be victorious. All in that one little word.
And that one little word. And the reason
Is
for
that one little word in the dictionary?
Not in an English dictionary, in a Sanskrit dictionary.
Okay.
It's a Gujarati term, and Gujarat is a state in southern India. It's a Sanskrit term, but it's used a lot in Gujarat. So, like, you've probably heard a million times, namaste.
Namaste.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. And
what does that mean?
Namaste means that the light of the divine inside of me recognizes the light of the divine in you.
Oh.
So it's, it's right like we homies.
Yeah.
You know.
Namaste.
Jai Bhagwan is similar, but it's a southern Indian term.
Gotcha.
And the reason why we say may your soul be victorious is because you are physically going to die.
Yes, we are all going to. We
Guaranteed.
are all going to die.
Right,
I've heard that somewhere
We're
before.
all going to die. Like, that's what's going to happen.
Yes, apparently it's been beaten into my head for the last 2 months. We're all going to die.
We are.
It's
Your
funny.
physical body is going to die.
Yeah,
That's
and I have a
guaranteed.
fear of death, and I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that surprised me. But wait, hold on. Let me finish the definition, and then I want to talk to you about that.
Are you going to save me?
No, I ain't saving you. I wish I were that cool.
Okay, go.
I am not saving you. The purpose behind it, meaning may your soul be victorious, is that, like, if you're in it for the body game, like you think that the body is like you're going to lose that game.
Correct.
But the soul, and the Sanskrit word for that is Atman, the soul is going to live on forever.
Forever.
That's
Yeah,
something that
I believe that.
across spiritual channels, across religious channels, everybody talks about the soul. So we have that in common.
Yes.
So the idea is that, may your soul be victorious, like work towards living soulfully.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be your legacy. That's the thing that's going to live on forever. And so that's the point. May your soul be victorious. Like, I want to see you win.
Here's what's weird is I believe in all that. I really do. I believe the soul goes on.
Yep.
So I'm not quite sure where this whole weird death thing comes into play for me.
Okay.
Maybe it's the way.
Okay.
Maybe that's really what
Okay.
it comes down to.
You don't want it to be painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just quick.
Yeah.
Just get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I have a feeling you will die like I will, which is spontaneous combustion.
We're just going to explode. Give me your book. Let's see this
Because we're just always on fire.
We're going to talk about your book for a second, and then we're going to go into my gladiator world for a moment.
Oh, God, I can't
That's
wait.
going to be fun.
Oh, my goodness.
What made you want to write a book from pain to pleasure? See, I went from pain to
pleasure.
pleasure.
Look at her. From pain to power.
Right. Okay. Pain to power. When you woke up one morning, did you say, this is what I'm doing? I'm going to write a book and it needs to get out there? And
does.
How long did it take you to write it?
Well, I will say that obviously, I mean, I've been on the planet for 49 years. And that book really starts with childhood at the age of 6 for the most part. And I have had so much great fortune with women who have told me their stories. And whether they come in as a patient on a clinical level, whether they come in for spiritual / life coaching, whether I meet them through the yoga channels, a variety of different ways. And I've heard so many stories that people feel, especially women, feel like they need to hide, that they need protection, they feel shameful about, that they blame themselves for, et cetera. And I was like, and every individual woman I've ever met, I'm like, I always preface our first meeting by saying, there is not a thing you could tell me that I can't relate to. And I start out with giving them a snapshot of my story, which immediately is like,
Gives them the permission to actually tell theirs.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then I can assist, I can help get them physically healthy, mentally healthy, emotionally healthy, spiritually healthy, however, because we are multidimensional selves. And I think it takes the weight off their shoulders. And so finally it was just like, I've got a story to tell. And I think that a lot of women out there can relate. I mean, and you've read it in the sense that there is, I was sexually assaulted at 6 years old. I went through major mental illness, went through physical crisis with my accident. I went through the identity crisis, eating disorder. I've been divorced, bankruptcy. I mean, there's not a topic out of like the top 10 that I haven't experienced. And I really realized, wow, this is my purpose. It's not only to tell this story, to share it with other women, and very, very specifically for them to realize that these experiences, whether mine, yours, whatever, you can turn them into a fucking superpower and create not only the life it is that you want, but use that as the most powerful ingredients to be the most badass woman warrior, kick-ass individual you could be in this life, because the universe needs it. The world needs it. The world needs more ices of the world. We need more of that, and especially over like the past 4 years, like with the pandemic and, COVID did a number on people.
Yeah, it did.
And just seeing like their lack of confidence and shame and blame and all of these things that have developed, within them, even in that short time period, never mind their life. It was like, no, it's time to tell this story and help motivate women and people across the board, because I've had many men buy the book.
Oh, yeah.
Push them to see this as like, there is not one thing I've got to be embarrassed about. And that's why it's super raw.
See, that's amazing. It's a great book.
Thank you.
Great book, From Pain to Power.
Yep.
It's interesting because some of the terms, some of the words, I know that the yogi terms and stuff like that. But
I just sprinkle it in.
Yeah.
I just sprinkle it in so people can ask me questions about it.
Exactly. It's like, I mean, there is one in here, and it's I believe it's use anxiety to help me on this one.
Yep.
It's
anxiety is a superpower.
Anxiety is a superpower.
Yes,
exactly.
It is. And I think many people can relate to anxiety.
Oh, there's no doubt. I have little bouts of anxiety. I mean,
I live with it every day.
Yeah. I can't say that I live with it every day. Now, my girlfriend used to be chronic as far as like her anxiety. Here's an interesting thing, and I think we spoke about this over the phone briefly, And that was because her hormones were imbalanced.
Yes.
As soon as she got her hormones balanced, her anxiety completely went away. Had no idea, by the way. 42 years old, all these years.
Yep.
And she went and got her hormones balanced, and all of a sudden the anxiety went away. It's like, wow, that's really interesting. So I'm not saying all medicines help and everything, but at the same time, it's like even my anxiety, the way my anxiety shows up is I get a twinge of lightheadedness. You know, it's not and I know what that is from. It's from the irregular breathing when you get that anxiety. Interesting. I mean, I always think my anxiety is gone, you know? But then it's like, here I am in Canada, in Montreal, and I'm looking at this ginormous Ferris wheel. I'm afraid of heights as I've gotten older.
Okay.
Not as I was younger, but
Okay, I
as
was
I've
going to say,
gotten older.
this is not a childhood thing.
No,
Okay.
interesting enough. And I'm looking at this thing, and my friend's like, let's go. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And all of a sudden it's like, don't think that I have my little safety net of Ativan in my purse, you know?
So funny.
And no kidding, I'm not joking. And all of a sudden it's like, I take a step towards when the door opens. I immediately, I'm not even joking, immediately get this lightheadedness. And I just like go, I take a deep breath and I breathe and I acknowledge what it is, first and foremost.
Absolutely. That's huge.
Yeah, I acknowledge what's happening at this moment. And I take a step back and I go, give me 5 seconds. I kid you not. I reached in my purse, grabbed a half out of it, I put it under my tongue, and I'm like, all right, now it's good to go. And for me, though, those are just in those moments. You know what I mean? Sure. Like I could have went through the whole let's breathe through this, you know, catch your breath, enjoy the moment. I could have went all through that. But at the moment, I'm like, nope, I ain't got time for this shit. Let's just move on and let's just take that half of Ativan to just relax my nerves. And I know that a lot of people are very against, you know, the Western medicine and all these kind of things. But at that moment, that's all I wanted.
Well, and for the record, even though I'm in the Ayurvedic kind of holistic medicine, I say this to people all the time, I'm not opposed to Western allopathic medicine. It serves a purpose. It's emergency medicine.
And that's exactly what it was.
You had an emergency situation, and so therefore it was used.
Yeah.
The how you are experiencing that anxiety and what you were saying about your girlfriend, you know, once her hormones got balanced, et cetera, that the whole kind of vessel of all of that is fight or flight.
Yes.
You know, so your endocrine system and your nervous system are inextricably linked. So when she balances her hormones, then the fight or flight response of the sympathetic nervous system isn't on high alert. In your particular situation, the sympathetic nervous system was on high alert, and that's its purpose. Its purpose there is to protect you.
Yes, exactly.
You felt like you were in danger, and it was there to protect you.
Yeah, I was. It was too high.
So it's like, this is too much. This is too much. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what I do is I try to give people, and specifically women, tools to practice so that when that sympathetic nervous system becomes activated, that tool is in place because it's been practiced so many times.
That you can just pull it up automatically.
That you can pull it out. So it becomes the quote unquote emergency medicine.
And that makes sense.
If that makes any sense.
100%.
But it has to be practiced.
Yes.
And so
it has to be like that muscle that you
absolutely
can just use and turn on at any moment.
1,000%. Like, okay, but the fact that you're saying, okay, I recognize what this is.
Yeah.
That's huge.
A lot of people don't.
Oh, most people don't.
Interesting.
Most people don't. And so then it becomes, I don't know what this is. I should therefore be afraid of it. Let me take the pill.
Yeah.
And that becomes the lifestyle. Instead of like, okay, I know what this is. And yes, I can breathe through it. But I got about 3 seconds to board this Ferris wheel or whatever.
Exactly.
So I'm going to do this. But with continued practice, I bet that if you went back to Montreal in a year, you wouldn't have to do something like that.
Well, not only that, I already went up and I realized I didn't die.
But did you die?
No,
exactly.
I didn't die.
You were not going to die.
Yeah.
You were not going to die. And and
it
so
is fascinating that you can use that anxiety as a superpower because it's an energy.
Yes, it is. It's a sensation. The physical body is what I call the grossest part of you. Not gross like, ew, gross, but like the most physical. And actually, when we are alerted through the physical body, so much has happened on the subtle body before that we're not even aware of. So by time it gets to the physical body, the anxiety has been pumping for a while. So when it reveals itself as a sensation, we have been attuned to, oh, this is a sensation I don't recognize. And so therefore, I have to push it away. What if you stepped into it? What if it was like, okay, I'm going to allow this to consume me. You're going to live. And you're going to come out the other side. You're going to come
out the other side. And I think that's really what it is for people to understand when you have these bouts of anxiety, you're not going to die.
You are not.
You feel like you might. But the other thing is it's a very uncomfortable place to be.
Yes, it is.
And that's where most humans are just like, screw this shit. I don't want to be in this uncomfortable position.
Nope.
And that's when they mask it with drugs and alcohols and,
Bingo.
everything else. Absolutely.
Bingo. Because we don't like pain.
We don't like uncomfortableness.
Oh, goodness, no.
No, we'll go
Discomfort
everywhere.
is not our superpower.
Right.
At all. Or patience.
Yeah, we'll flee from it.
Yep.
What's your goal? What's your end game? What are you accomplishing? I want to know where you want to go with this.
I appreciate that question. So I want to get the book in as many hands of women as possible.
Okay.
And I call it the Shakti Effect. So Shakti means energy, and it's a feminine energy. So you get the book, you read it, and then you buy the book for another woman that you think would really relate to it. And then that goes on and on and on and on. And ultimately, I have several women's programs that I would love to help women with after they read the book, to empower them to develop these tools on their own in order to see that their life experiences can absolutely be turned not only into a superpower, but a life of purpose. And so right now I have a program that's running that's called the Ayurveda 108. It's 108 days of 8 simple practices that we do every day and it's mental toughness. It's also developing a relationship with yourself, et cetera, et cetera. And they're very simple. And then what's in development right now, which will start next fall, is the Pain to Power program, which is a 5-year program that...
Do you actually think people have the withstand, the patience, the stayability? That's not even a word, I don't believe.
Oh, no, but it's a good word.
What I mean.
Oh, I know exactly
what you
mean.
I'm saying? For 5 years, because it's like our attention span. I see the 6 months, I see the year. Why not have like 6 months a year and then have an option for a year and have the option for a year? It's just how, as far as how we think as humans. Yeah. It's like a commitment.
It is. But this is the thing. You have to make commitments in your life.
You do.
And one thing that I've learned, especially over the past 4 years, is, and you know this, that if you don't make commitments, nothing changes. And people have cognitive dissonance around what is reality and what is not, in terms of, you're a personal trainer. I'm sure you've had...
Used to be.
Okay, used to be. But I'm sure you've had clients who are just like, I'm going to work out with you, and have in their minds that they are going to be in jacked fit shape within 6 months.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Not realistic.
No.
So that cognitive dissonance, that gap between what they believe and what is reality, is a big thing.
Yeah.
We have been fed in our culture to believe that you can have everything instantaneously. You don't really have to work that hard. And part of the mission of the book is not only how raw the story is, but to say, this is going to take a while. And like step out of the unrealistic life that we have been pumped through social media, et cetera, that, I can get fit in 6 months, et cetera. And step into the reality of like, what is really going on with your life?
Yeah.
And it's going to take a while. I had a patient who came to see me a couple of weeks back, and I saw her initially a couple of years ago, and she made these huge changes and did so well, and now has reverted back.
I was just going to ask that question. Did they slip backwards?
Oh, yeah. And has reverted back.
Okay.
For a variety of different reasons, none of which matter. because you're back in the chair sitting in front of me.
Absolutely.
And the real around that is, okay, now it's going to take you double the amount of time to get back to where it is that you were. So you need to expect that.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of people don't want to hear what it is that I have to say because I don't really I'm like you, I don't sugarcoat shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is going to be long. This is going to be hard. And if you're there, I'm going to stick it out with you. And what's on the other side of that? And so part of, again, the mission of the book and a Pain to Power program that's, 5 years long is this is how long it takes. And so you have to step into the realism of that. Now, if you don't want to, and you want to continue to go on and think that like, oh, I can get in shape in 6 months, or I can, deal with my anxiety, go ahead and do that.
Right.
And I'll see you in 10 years in a worse condition.
Right. Do you only work with people that really are committed? I mean, or do you take anybody on that's kind of half-ass in, half-ass out?
I will take people who are on the fence.
Okay.
But then you got to show me.
Yeah.
Action is everything. You got to commit. And I've had several people who have come in who are just like, well, I'm going to test this out, et cetera. I'm like, okay, we'll see where that goes.
Right.
And have become like my largest advocates.
See, that's
and
cool.
are like, oh my God, this was life transforming. And like, people don't realize that like, as they're in it, all of these transformational things start to happen in their life. And they're like, oh my God. So it's not like, oh, this drudgery of a 5-year program that I have to do, et cetera. It's like, no, this is your life.
Yeah.
Like, take your shit seriously.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
You're doing a great service.
Thank you.
From Pain to Power.
Yes.
Satyavani.
Yes.
Thank you for coming in.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for having me.
Quick question.
Absolutely.
If you had a gladiator name, what would it be?
Ooh. Okay. So I will share with you that my Krav Maga name is Big Time.
Big Time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I kind of like warrior.
I don't think there has been a warrior. Has there been a warrior, Jeff?
Not that I know
Gladiator?
of. I don't
Maybe
think
it's
so.
because of the fact that it's too close to the word gladiator.
Gladiator?
Yeah,
Okay.
warrior.
Okay. If you were to name me, what would it be?
I can't even go there.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know.
Okay.
I was the worst at picking names.
I would say fire.
A lot of people pick fire.
I'd pick fire.
Yeah, a lot of people pick that.
Yep.
I mean, my name was kind of a collaborative kind of.
Yeah, how did yours come?
I had like all the gladiators were sitting there, and it came from, we were just naming stuff. You know, you literally look around the world and start naming stuff. Light, ceiling. Believe it or not, there was a was it a light shade? What was it? Something light shade or something like that. There was a UK gladiator, and I was just like, I mean, some of these names are like ridiculous.
Bizarre.
Let's be real. So,
I mean, ice is pretty damn dope.
Ice is pretty cool. And it came from Top Gun, the movie.
Makes perfect sense.
Iceman. Yeah, it came out exactly
That's
the
right,
same
Iceman.
exact year. And somebody said that I could look like Val Kilmer's sister. And so it just kind of like, I don't know, it just kind of stuck.
love
it was
it.
perfect.
That's
It was
awesome.
perfect. What was your favorite event to watch? Or what would you, better question, what event would you have loved to do?
The joust.
The joust?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Just wail on somebody, beat the
Love
shit
it.
out of them.
Love it. Just love it. Just absolutely love it. Absolutely. I'm all about that
I
joust.
gotta say this to everybody. It's funny because when she walked through the door and I gave her a hug, I was like, holy shit, you're short.
I am short.
I literally, from your book, from your
Big
podcast,
presence, short and height.
big presence. I thought, okay, this woman's got to be like 5'9". No. You know?
No,
And it's
you're
like,
taller than I am.
Holy shit, you're
I
short.
don't know if it's the Fry boots though, because I am wearing,
Yeah,
I'm
I
wearing
got,
flat, flat little
That's true.
Vans.
So joust, you just wanted to beat the shit out of somebody.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Jeff, what event would
that's
you
what we
have
do in
wanted to
Krav.
The joust, for sure.
Why does everybody love the joust so much?
I think it's because it's difficult, and it's also a balance that you have
Absolutely.
to keep while you're getting knocked
Absolutely.
the shit out of yourself, and while
Yeah.
you're also getting your own energy out to
Yeah.
knock the fuck out of somebody else.
And
you
there's
know?
strategy involved.
Yes.
Yeah, well, my
Yes.
strategy is
No.
just hit him first and knock the shit out of him.
That's a great.
That was my. I'm
And
not
plus-
even
that shit.
joking.
Plus, you
I
wear
believe
the
that.
helmet and you
I
have
believe
the
that.
sticks and
Hit
everything.
him
Like
first,
that's
hit
so
him hard.
cool.
Yeah, because then it's going to knock them off balance, and they're just going to go, "Whoa!" It's going to ring their bell, and then I got him.
I love it.
Now, Powerball was my next one because we got the tackle. I think you would have loved that one too.
You know what? I'd be into that. The only thing I'd be concerned with is my shoulder.
Let's pretend your shoulders were fine.
Okay, then we're all about it.
Yeah.
We're all about it. But
It'd
yeah,
be
I was
Powerball.
all about the joust though. I don't know. There was just something about it, especially as they improved it over time.
Yeah.
Because in the documentary and also just having watched the show, it definitely changed over time. But yeah, no, I'd be all about it.
The joust is so funny. No,
And I think a lot
no
of
human cannibal. You don't want anybody swinging down off a rope and knocking your ass off.
Fuck no.
Right?
Who the hell does that?
Who invented the game?
Oh my God. No
it's crazy.
way. No
I
way.
know. No. It's nuts. I am going to mention again, because this podcast is coming out soon. It'll hit next week, and that is we are going to be in New York Comic-Con, October 30th, October 12th through the 15th. No, it's going to be myself, Nitro, Zap, and Laser. So, it's going to be a great time. So, I'm going to be there October 12th in New York Comic-Con.
Where are they hosting it?
It is right next to the Hudson River.
Jacob Javits Center?
Yes.
Bingo.
That's it.
Yeah, that's usually
I looked it up. So, that's where it's, what is it?
The Jacob Javits Center?
Yes.
So, they do a lot of events there.
That's
kind of
gonna
the
be fun.
event center.
And then I'm also going to be appearing at another toy show, which is November 2nd, which is up in Maryland.
Nice.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Now, are you going to New York, coming back to LA, and then going?
Yes.
To Maryland? Gotcha.
Going to New York, coming back, going to Maryland, and then.
And where in Maryland?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know yet. And Jeff, here's another thing that's going to be exciting that's possibly coming up, and I will tease this a little bit, and that is a possibility of a gladiator tour, a handful of us, a group of us, to where we'll be going around the country doing meet and greet, Comic-Con type of,
and
shows.
podcasts.
We should talk about that.
And yes,
we should talk about that because I know this is going to sound bizarre, but like Boise, Idaho could be a lot of fun for you.
Oh, I know. Well, the venues that we'll be hitting, interesting enough, they're not going to be super large. They're going to be more like anywhere from 800 to 1,200 people, apparently.
Love it. Because Boise is kind of like an up and coming city.
Yes, they do.
And that is a perfect size. So yeah, let's talk about that.
That's going to be a lot of fun. So we're in the negotiation period of that.
Wonderful.
Hopefully
so it's just the four of you then.
They might be some interchangeable gladiators, but the
interchangeable gladiators.
I know. It's not going to. Let's put it this way. It's going to be interchangeable gladiators. It won't just be the four of us. I mean, I think that it'll be an array of all of the gladiators kind of,
but circulating through.
Yeah, it'll be like circulating through. It'll be like 4 to 5 of us at all times going throughout. So we're looking at possibly 2022 city tour. That would be super nice.
That. And so it's just
it might be across Canada. It might be across here in the United States. It could be, so that's what it's in talks about that.
Awesome.
And then we're in talks about possibly a children's book, a series.
I love that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun too. So
that's a cool
there's
idea.
a lot of things happening, and
so great.
Psyched
for you.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, and I'm excited for you
and
your book, and
Thank you.
Coming all the way up from San Diego. I know you flew out here from Boise. You went to San Diego, met some family, drove up here this morning. So
it was awesome.
I appreciate that. That's a nice 3-hour drive.
It was so worth it.
Good. I'm glad.
So worth it. I so appreciate your time.
Absolutely. People check this book out. From Pain to Power. And Dr. Satyavani. And tell us where else we can find you and your socials and your podcast. And I mean, you have your own podcast.
I do.
So let's talk
which
about it.
I'm inviting you to be a guest on the Ayurvedic Woman podcast. Ayurvedic Woman, yeah. So Ayurveda is the most ancient medical practice known to humankind, predates Chinese medicine by about 3,000 years, comes from ancient India. It is the medical science that I practice, that I work with patients on, and also is kind of infused into all of the work it is that I do.
Perfect.
So the Ayurvedic Woman podcast, we're on all the podcast stations, Spotify, Apple.
Across the board. Got it.
And
what's your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is Satyavani Rising, like the rising sun.
Okay.
And my IG, Instagram is Satyavani Gayatri. So just like my name.
Perfect.
And the book is on Amazon. It's in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. And that one is for you.
Thank you. And the way you spell Satyavani is Satyavani. That is her first name, last name.
Gayatri.
Gayatri, Gayatri. And I did that without my glasses. God knows how.
I am so proud of you. I understand that perfectly.
So it's an amazing book. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast
Thank you,
today. And I look forward to talking with you more outside of this. And I think that maybe, yes, we can do something together down the road.
I think we will. I appreciate that very much.
I appreciate that too. It's all about empowering.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are woman warrior supreme.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, thanks for watching Chillin' with Ice. And until next week, stay tuned. We will be, let's see, who do we have next week? Oh, I can't tell you that. That's another special guest coming up.
Special guest.
But definitely check out. I was just recently on the Adam Carolla show as well. So we're going to go there. That might actually air next week. I'll bring that on. But thank you so much for listening. And until then, peace out. Thank you so much for listening to Chillin' with Ice. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share wherever you listen to your podcasts. Remember to follow us on Patreon and YouTube at Chillin' with Ice. And on Instagram and TikTok, you can follow me at lori.ice.fetrick. I look forward to chilling with you next time here on Chillin' with Ice.